Where's Melania?
Mr. Trump, is your family coming?
Where's Melania, Mr. Trump?
So they're just peppering him with questions. He doesn't address any of those questions. He'll come out with his big stack of printed out Fox News articles that he printed out in full color, massive waste of ink, and just whine for a little bit about how it's too cold. But the questions remain. And I understand that most people are wording it as, where's Melania or whatever. That's what draws the headlines, admittedly. But look, I think we all potentially understand why Melania Trump does not want to be in there. And we've talked about that previously. I want to move past that to the broader picture of, he doesn't have anyone other than his legal team there. I mean, he has like Alina Habba or whatever, who's not technically on this case. And I guess she's something like his friend at this point. Maybe not in the way Melania would prefer, but anyway, it's not just that Melania's not there. Don Jr. isn't there. Eric isn't there. Ivanka isn't there. The kids that he likes and the kids that he doesn't like aren't there. None of them are there. Nobody is there. And that seems to me, as a non-expert, to be weird. To be clear, some people who follow a lot of cases like this say that that is in fact weird.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
Former federal prosecutor and legal analyst Joyce Aline says, I have rarely seen a defendant facing trial alone with no family, at least one person in the courtroom for him. It's a sad commentary for a former president with 4 grown children and a wife, all of whom seem to have deserted him in the moment. But that said, I don't want to just assume that it's a sad moment. So Sharon, here's what I want to talk about. Is this more of a strategy that if they were to go, that would lend credibility to the charges? It would make it seem worse. I mean, look, his family has to rally by his side. Or is it the way the critics are saying, it just looks bad for him that nobody seems to want to be by his side? What do you think?
I'm with the critics. It does look bad. And I think the kids are busy. I think they're lunching and Hamptons or whatever else they do. Especially Ivanka. She's not going to touch this. Tiffany's wherever, maybe on the West Coast. I think it looks really bad. If my father, who's a good, upstanding citizen, were in trouble, I wouldn't care what anybody thought. I'd be sitting right there behind him, supporting my dad. The fact that you mentioned none of the kids, and I don't know, none of the kids? Yeah, it's bad. The critics are right. I don't think it's a strategy, not a bit of it.
Yeah, I think, they're busy with their podcasts or whatever, writing books titled Triggered. No, so they are busy, but he's on trial for 6 weeks, all day long. And you're not gonna see him otherwise. This is where you can see him. Why wouldn't you be? It just seems on a human level like you'd wanna be there. But that said, and I'll expand what I have previously said about Melania to the entire family. Not that I have a lot of empathy for Don Jr., Eric, or whatever, but they know he did it. They're allegations. They know he did it. They know that every part of this is true. And for them, do you think it would look good for Don Jr. and Eric to be there showing support for him, knowing that everyone else in the family knows that he actually did it? That would look bad for them potentially. And it would just be such a hard thing to do. Like when I think about my dad, as far as I know, never did anything wrong in his life. But if he had been alleged of all this stuff, and I knew deep inside that he had done every bit of it, it would be super hard to be there and support him. And the family is in this position now where in all of these cases, there's no real cover story. He defamed E.G. and Carroll. He assaulted E.G. and Carroll. They committed the fraud. Many of the family members were a part of committing the fraud in New York. He did the hush money payments. They know that. He stole the documents. He did the coup. None of this is secret. Almost all of it was out in public. So how do you stand by his side during this? And notably, they basically choose not to. And so it's a really weird, can you imagine Joe Biden on trial for 6 weeks and no one's with him? Barack Obama, George W. would have people by his side. Only Trump is left alone because of how obviously guilty he is and the incredibly weird relationship he has with his family.
But John, can I just say,
final point goes to you.
Well, yeah, it's just that, but they stood by him other times. Maybe it benefited them, sure. But he's done, can you name something he's done right? I mean, they've been at this a long time and they've mostly stood by his side and Trump name, this and that. So I don't know if that's why they're not there. I really do think they're lunching and golfing and doing what Trump offspring do, and they really don't care. What do I get out of it?
Yeah, and by the way, we don't have any reports that like Trump wants them to be there. I want to be clear about that when I make the comparison that I will. But I will often see, like I see posts on Reddit or whatever of people who their parent, like usually it's the dad, wasn't a part of their life, never showed them love or whatever. And now the dad is like super old and he's like desperately trying to get back in with them. Like it has this sort of feeling of like you never invested in an actual relationship, so why would you expect anything to come of it? Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.